Oliver invites Evie to the wedding party of their supposedly mutual cousin. After showing a bit of reluctance, Evie agrees. Next, we see Evie leaving the airport while she is on the phone with her friend Grace. And as soon as she reaches the arrivals, Oliver is already there to receive her. Evie gets a warm hug from Oliver, and then they leave for the wedding party venue. As they reach the venue, which is in fact a magnificent mansion, Evie is appraising the mansion after getting out of her Rolls Royce. Housemates are coming in. Still in awe of the mansion, Evie takes a step back and accidentally hits one of the housemates who's carrying wine glasses. Soon, a man in a suit reaches the scene, who is also the butler of the house, and starts lecturing the housemaid, to which Evie defends, saying it is her fault. Though adamant about the fact that it's the maid's mistake, keeps on lecturing, to which Evie gives him a shut-up call for his snarky behavior. While all this is going on, a man named Walter intervenes and asks them to clear the fuss. A formal session of introduction between Walter and Evie begins, and while they are at it, Oliver comes in and introduces Evie and Walter to each other. In the next scene, we see Evie being guided to her room by the same butler who was lecturing the maids. As soon as Evie enters the mansion and looks around the hallway, she is startled by the interior decoration. Then the butler introduces Evie to the housemaid named Mrs. Swift, who then takes Evie to her room, which is much better than her expectations. Mrs. Swift asks Evie if the room is fine, and then tells her about a ringer that she can use to call in the maid if she needs any services. Evie looks around the room and then sees a picture of a woman hanging on the wall. Upon asking, she is told by Mrs. Swift that the woman was the prior lady of the mansion, and she passed away recently. Evie goes to sleep, and in her dream, she sees that she is running. And once she stops, there's a strange man in the mansion who is looking at her from afar. She wakes up like a jolt had hit her and goes out of her room. While she is strolling around the mansion, she sees the butler standing in the hallway and talking to all the housemaids. She is observing the activities, and Mrs. Swift appears out of nowhere and inquires about what Evie was doing out there and advises Evie to go back to her room as it's not safe for her to be out there that late. Evie gets back to her room and wakes up to a knock on her door as her new family is waiting for her downstairs. Evie leaves her room and goes towards the hallway where she is greeted by Oliver and the rest of the family. A man comes forward and introduces himself as Uncle Julius and welcomes Evie to the family. While Evie and
Hello, it's Ben Recap again. Today, I'm going to explain a 2022 American movie called Day Shift. Watch out for spoilers and take care. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. A man in his mid-40s dressed in blue overalls walks into a house armed with a gun. He moves quietly, not wanting to draw attention to himself. He searches for his target. He continues his search in one of the bedrooms in the house. Suddenly, an old woman shows up and asks, "Who are you? Where is Michael?" He points his gun to her and shoots. Boom. Surprisingly, she doesn't stay down, but her bones start to crack, and she rises up transformed into this mysterious and ugly-looking creature, a vampire. She attacks the man and displays strength and fighting skills you would never expect from a regular grandma. But of course, she is no regular being. The man manages to kill her. He displayed a high level of training and the expertise, almost like he kills vampires for a living. Another vampire tries to attack him from behind, but falls into the invisible string trap he had set up. He takes out a tool and removes their teeth, specifically their fangs, and exclaims, "Money." He gets into his van and drives away. That man's name is Bud. Bud is a father to Paige. He and his wife, Joss, are separated. He always shows up late to pick his daughter from school, and he always has an excuse as to why he will be unable to take her to school. Presently, Bud's wife has given him an ultimatum that if he doesn't get his daughter's tuition fees of $5,000 in a week, they would be moving to Florida to live with Joss' parents. Bud doesn't want to lose his daughter, so he promises to have the money by Monday, which is 6 days from now. Bud takes the teeth he got from his last job and goes to cash it out at a rundown electronics store which is managed by Eddie. Bud is really just a front for Troy, a vampire teeth collector, to run his business. Bud expects to get a huge sum of money for the goods he has turned in, but is disappointed when he is told he would only get $100. He starts to argue, and Troy tells him to go sell it at the union, to which Bud disagrees. He offers some of his tools for sale, but Troy takes advantage of his desperation to buy at the cheapest price. He even asks for Bud's Jordans, which he had on. Bud leaves feeling frustrated and unable to sell it. Audrey, a relative of the old woman that Bud killed, goes over to her house only to find her dead. She immediately orders for her security guy to find who carried out the operation. Bud is in trouble. Bud meets up with an old friend, Big J, and asks for help to get into the union. He explains his predicament to him, and Big J agrees to help him. Bud works with the past, but he violated too many
Shoot the one now.
protocols, and so he was kicked out. The union is like a legal setting where you could kill
Yo, them body I get out of all
there
that.
are rules to be followed, and if you break the rules, you get kicked out. Bud and Big John meet up with Ralph, the manager of the union, and they were able to reach a compromise, which involved Bud being on probation for 1 week. He had to go on his assignments with a union rep accompanying him for supervision, and he had to work the day shift. Now, we all know that vampires operate in the night, so Bud was gonna have to work extra hard to make that money. Ralph doesn't really want Bud working for the union, so he tells the union rep assigned to him, Seth, to report any single mistake he makes while on the field. Seth and Bud do not hit it off on the first field operation. Their principles differ. Bud is a get-the-job-done-by-all-means kind of guy, and Mark is a follow-the-rules kind of guy. Mark tells him about the different kinds of vampires. There are Southern, Eastern, Spider, Uber, and Juvenile. They are largely solitary, but when they get together, there is a hierarchy. They organize according to their age. The sunlight is the only thing they are scared of. Bud is on the field to kill some juveniles. Seth advises that he come back when they are older so their teeth have more value. Bud tells him that he needs the cash now. He also tells him to stay in the truck. He trails a juvenile from an animal shelter and is led to an old bowling alley filled with vampires. Seth receives a call from Ralph asking for updates on their mission. He tells Ralph that he was asked to stay in the truck in Ralph's place. He orders him to go inside and record any violations that Bud makes. He goes into the bowling alley. Bud's fighting head-on with one of the vampires. He is terrified, but manages to pass Bud's shotgun. When the fight is over, Bud laughs at Seth because he not only kept vomiting repeatedly, he also peed on himself. Bud reassured him that he did well and that everyone wets themselves the first time, but he still didn't let him ride in the truck. He had Seth sit in the back and hang his legs to air dry so he doesn't mess up his seats with his pee. When he drops Seth off, he gives him a special body wash that will get off the scent of the vampires they killed so that other vampires cannot sniff them out. Bud gives him several tips on what to do and what not to do. Bud enters his truck and sees the notepad where Seth had been writing down his violations. In the meantime, Audrey is still tracking Bud down and she is able to trace his scent to Troy, the black market team collector. She threatens him and demands he spill information about Bud's whereabouts. She gives him a short lecture on how vampires cannot live without their fangs and cannot regenerate their fangs if lost. She gave him 2 doors. 1, join her in service and live. 2, do not live. He chose door number 2. Bud gets home, and as he is walking to his apartment, he bumps into his new neighbor, who introduces herself as Heather.
Why them two nigga gang me every minute?
He welcomes her into the building. The next day, Bud keeps up Seth on their way to work. He confronted him about the notepad containing the violation. Seth's response was that he was following the union rules, and Bud told him it was secret. That is, Ralph who wanted him gone, and that's who he was really obeying. Bud asked Seth for a couple of days off the book to just gather the money he needed, and Seth agreed. They went over to Troy's place to get ammunition, but met a bloody scene. Seth insisted they report it to the union, but Bud was focused on leaving in search of some extra money. Seth kept insisting, and so Bud tells him that if Bud doesn't get money from the union by Monday, he's going to lose his family. With that, Seth apologized and agreed to cooperate. On his way to his apartment that night, Bud overheard a weird conversation from his neighbor's house. He started to suspect that something was happening. The next day, Bud and Seth were outside of a house which Big J had given Bud a tip on, when they saw the Nazarian brothers pull up to their side. The Nazarian brothers are big-time vampire hunters who cleared out all of Glendale, and were headed west hunting vampires. They exchanged banter and agreed to work together with Bud on the house he was about to raid instead of taking the job from him. Seth was also going to the house.
I'm gonna give him the extra
advised him on how to attack. They all entered into the house and killed about 4 vampires. They started inspecting to ensure there were no more vampires hiding out. Then they discovered that the house was a hive. There were vampires coming in from every angle, through the walls and even the roof attachment. A vampire attacked Seth and he was unable to take the safety off his gun. He beat himself again and had to fight for his life. Thankfully, Bud came to his rescue. When they are done fighting, Seth notices something very strange. The different vampire species were cohabiting with each other. Southerns, Eastern...
Yeah, see, go sleep then if I take that sleep.
Bud tells Seth that he has what it takes to be honest, rather than just being an accomplice in the union. Bud goes over to his wife and pick up photos of her friend's birthday, and Josh tells him to go. He tries to dodge going to the birthday party, but Josh doesn't have him. She shoves off his arm and dress. At the birthday party, Bud playing a game. He tells her that if that's just his special driver. Audrey has sent several men to harm him. There is an entire part of the story. He has to get away from him to protect his daughter and himself. Bud calls Joss and asks her to pack a bag. He tells her he doesn't have time to explain. He needs to be ready to game and takes her headphones off. She assists her father about that. They are able to evade them and they get home safely. Bud opens the door and finds that Audrey has captured Joss in the living room. Some men quickly snatch Paige away from him. From the back. He comes clean before Joss.
Minha maneira é shoot uma versão.
But a vampire has Audrey has bitten shut. He is lying unconscious, turning into a vampire. He takes Paige and Joss away with intentions of turning Paige into a vampire. The men with Audrey throw Bud down and he hits his head. Her plan is for Seth to drink his blood when he transforms into a vampire. Luckily, Bud wakes up around the time Seth also wakes up. He is able to break the news to Seth that he has been turned into a vampire. He apologizes. He asks Seth how he feels and Seth said he felt horrified to be a vampire, but kind of amazing. Once his blood was on fire, Seth said he felt hungry and grabbed his blood in an attempt to drink his blood. Once he wanted to cut out, Seth was alive. He picked up his head and connected it back to the socket. Seth was able to keep his blood pushed under his door. When they drove back to Bud's apartment to get some information they would need to defeat Audrey, she went to confront Heather about her identity. She admitted to being a vampire, but also insisted that she did it because Audrey is her maker. Karen, the old woman that Bud killed at the beginning, was actually Audrey's daughter, who she had turned into a vampire in order for her to remain alive. Heather told Bud that she wanted to help him take down Audrey's son also. Together, they went to a vampire underground camp where Audrey would most likely have taken Paige and Joss, and started to take down the vampires they met on their way. Big J also showed